my class who wants to do some math. Mr. H, garage math, solve equations.
Singing in the rain, I'm singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. Okay, day 2 of Superstorm 2026. Had to let some water out of my pool today because we were about to have a flood in the backyard. Okay, hello. I'm Mr. Henriksen, Mark Henriksen. This is Garage Math. We're going to teach you today about circles. Are circles polygons? It's a closed shape. We've gone over this. It's not. They have to have straight lines to be a polygon. I'm sporting a hat. This is my yoga studio. It's called Uplift. If you're looking to stretch out your muscles, when you get to be a certain age, or really any age, it's all about elongating your muscles, because old people, right, grandma, grandpas, could be me soon, they look like this because our whole world just brings us down. But we have to do things to kind of straighten ourselves up again. So yoga does a great thing, and it's always elongating your spine. And our spine's designed to go forward, which is what we naturally do most of the time at our desks, sideways, and back bends are really healthy, okay, because our spine is kind of pretty cool. It can go all sorts of different directions. So I hadn't been in a while, so I was a little tight today, but I wanted to represent Uplift Yoga. Okay, let's move on to circles. Let's get this party started. I have to go to Beetlejuice tonight, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I just put some definitions here on the board. You can copy them down or just kind of know them, okay? There's kind of 4 of them. So when it comes to a circle, if you go all the way through, it has to go through the center point. It's called the diameter. Whoop! If you go halfway through, it's called the radius. This guy doesn't get a whole lot of attention. The chord. There's multiple chords. Basically all a chord is, it's from one end of a circle, a straight line, to another part of a circle. So it touches. So you can have a chord like this, like this, like this. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to tell me the longest chord possible on a circle is called diameter. Correct. Okay, and then the one that we're going to talk a lot about today, mostly Archimedes spent a lot of work on this, famous Greek mathematician, philosopher, I don't know. Circumference. Okay, so that's the distance around a circle. So it was really important that he measure something, and the townspeople put it to him to figure this out, and that's how he came up with a formula. So we're not going to dive into how he came up with the formula. We're just going to know what the formula is, and we're going to use it. Okay, so we're going to find the circumference of circles, because someday you may need to find the circumference of a circle, probably on a test. Okay, so you have all this memorized. Okay. All right, we only have one formula today. We have one formula, C equals pi times D. There's certain formulas in your life that you will never forget. I equals PRT. Area equals pi r squared. We're going to be coming up on that soon. That's the area formula. Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. There's one that you're going to learn in Algebra 2, and I just totally blanked on it. Anyways, C equals pi times D. Okay, so just kind of understand that C is circumference, pi. I'm not going to dive into pi. Although I wish I could dive into pi, preferably, lemon meringue. That's my favorite. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and say that pi is 3.14. Pi is actually and E rational number. I have my light there. I think I put this in the shadows when I stand here. Maybe I'll move my light there next time. Or I can move over here. Pi equals 3.14 or 22 over 7. So, but pi goes forever. It's one of those numbers that just every year, like they figure out the next billion digits. And I think they're up to like a gajillion digits at this moment. I had a student in class one year. Some kids kind of learn pi. There's a song. It obviously has some sort of photographic memory ability. I only know it up to 2 digits, 3.14. I had a kid, I'm pretty sure it was Seth. Seth, you know who you are. Seth Aites, one of my all-time favorites. He got over to 100 digits. So we had him looking at the class. We put the digits on the back where he couldn't see, and we were just kind of watching as he went. It was pretty miraculous. I've had kids go really far. I think he's got the record. And if somebody out there is like, no, I had the record, sorry. Let me know next time you see me. Okay, so circumference equals pi times d. All right, quick story. Archimedes, am I right? So they were going to have a dance way back in the ancient Greek times. And the dance floor was a circle. And this was a real problem. And so what happened was they were going to decorate the circumference of the dance floor with gold bricks. But they didn't want to buy more gold bricks than they needed. So they said, Archimedes, we need you to figure out the circumference of our dance floor. And they didn't have rulers to measure arcs, because how are you going to measure that with a ruler? No. So he went to his shop. I kind of pictured it like Jack Skellington's shop. And he came up with a formula. And if you want to know how he came up with the formula, Google it. And he came up with this formula, C equals pi times d, because it's easy to find the diameter of anything because it's a straight line. And you can mark it off. You can put a big ruler down to measure the diameter. So he figured out if you knew the diameter of any circle, you plugged it into this formula, you can find the circumference. So they ended up having a golden, wonderful time dancing on this dance floor. Okay, so that's where it all started. C equals pi times d. So you're going to need a piece of paper. We're going to use calculators today for sure. And we're going to go ahead and solve some of these problems. Okay, so you have a circle, and it's 32 feet in diameter. How do you find the circumference? So here's what we're always going to do. We're always going to start off with the formula and plug it in. And it's actually going to be rather quick, okay? So we know pi, we're going to use 3.14. 22 over 7 is sometimes used, but 3.14 is easier. Fractions, am I right? And then the diameter is 32, okay? And then you just take your calculator. 3.14 times 32. That's 100.48. C equals 100.48 feet. Now, the world of geometry usually involves units, so make sure you put in the feet. If you don't put the feet, I usually mark it wrong, because how do we know whether it's inches, feet, or yards? Do we put the little 2 over that? I'm going to let you think about it and figure out why we don't. We will eventually. Okay, all right. Here is a baby circle. These are actually paint cans, so I definitely used my garage because I didn't want to use bowls, because if I used my pen and I inked up the bowls, I'd be in trouble. So I used a paint can. That's the bottom of the paint can. I thought it'd be bigger than that, to be honest with you, but it's a standard paint can. Okay, so this one they tried to trick you a little bit. So again, C equals pi times d. They didn't give us the d, they gave us the r, they gave us the radius. It could be C equals pi times 2r. What? 2 times r is d. I'll think about it. So we just have to add another 7. So if the radius is 7, the diameter is 14. So we can plug in 14. Okay, they're going to try to trick you that way. So make sure you're putting in the diameter, not the radius. Okay, 3.14 times 14. I got 43.96. Okay, C equals 43.96. Put the unit, put it in the thing. Okay, so basically what that means is if you had a circular ruler, this would be almost 44 inches. Okay, you just plug it in. Thank goodness we had Archimedes. Another way you could have done it is he could have got a big string, and he could have taken a big string and just put it all the way around and then he would have had people like doing their little fingers on it. He couldn't have done it that way, so he had to go to his shop and figure it out. Okay, I think that's right, pi times diameter, 740. Okay, we only have 2 more problems left, so let's do them. Now, if you get a semicircle, it's not a circumference anymore, because a circumference is a circle. So a semicircle is half a circle. So what we're going to use is c equals pi times d. That's going to give us, imagine this kept going. Imagine this kept going, then that would be the circumference formula, okay? So to get a semicircle, you just have to divide it by 2. But there's one other part you have to do afterwards, and that always trips kids up, okay? All right, so we're going to use our c equals pi times diameter. We're going to figure out what it would be if this thing was an actual circle. And then we're just going to divide it by 2, okay? Again, that's the radius. That's 13 feet. So we have to add another 13 feet for the diameter. So that's 26. If that's 13, that's 13. So it's 26, okay? C equals 3.14 times 26. Come on, you should have calculators and be playing along. 3.14 times 26. I got 81.64. 81.64. C equals 81.64 feet. Now, that's the semicircle. People will circle that and move on and live their life happily ever after. But they would live it wrong, because what's the other thing we have to do? You have to add that line, because it's the whole shape. And we already decided that's 26, okay? So that is 81.64. That's 26. Oh, I screwed up. Oh my gosh, that was fun. I was kind of checking myself, and I realized that didn't smell right. That's not 81.64. How many of you are out there screaming at your computer or your phone going, ah? I was wrong. That's half. That's 81.64. So we got to divide that by 2. Oh my gosh. I wish I would act like I did that on purpose, but I think I already gave myself away. 81.64 divided by 2, 40.82. 40.82. 40.82. Okay, that's the semicircle. That's 26. That makes more sense. Plus 26. We're just going to do that in our head, and I'm going to write it over here, because I'm kind of running out of room. All right, 40.82. So that would be what? That would be 66.82. 66.82 feet. Okay, let me get out of the way. I think I'm out of the screen here. 66.82 feet. I sure hope I get these right. I haven't done these ahead of time, and I'm kind of going quick. So I feel like, I don't know, kids always like it when the teacher gets things wrong, because I usually have like 40 kids in my class, and they kind of like, and it's great because they should be paying attention. But whatever. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I don't think I'm out of enough room, so I'm going to have to write small, I guess. Are you able to see that if I write small? We'll figure it out. I want you to find the circumference of both these circles. There's a blue circle and there's a black circle. Find the circumference of both those circles. So what I want you to do is I want you to use c equals pi times d, and I want you to hit pause. I'm going to work this out, and then I want you to come back, watch the show, or fast forward to the end of the show and see if our answers match, okay? So if you've been watching this, just chilling, enjoying the show without participating, now's the time to, this is the last one. Okay, let's find the circumference of the blue circle. Okay, the radius is 4, so the diameter is 8, okay? So it's 3.14 times 8. That's the blue circle, 3.14 times 8. And I'm going to do my calculator all at the end. Okay, the black circle, check this out. If this is 4, and that's 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. Well, then you got another 4 plus 3 is 7. That's 14. So the diameter of the black circle is 14. 3.14 times 14. I hope that's right. Okay, so let's knock them out one at a time. The blue circle, 3.14 times 8 is 25.12. 25.12, I'm gonna write it in blue. 25.12 centimeters. That's the blue one. Ooh, then let me get my black. And the black circle is obviously circumferencier because it's bigger. 3.14 times 14 is 43.96. 43.96. Let me get out of the way. Okay. Gosh, I hope I did those right. I feel like they seem pretty good. Just circumference equals pi times d. Circumference equals pi times d. That's it. Very cool. I think we'll get into area pretty soon. It's different. Circumference equals pi times d. Okay, peace. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.